this thing. It's towards my black panels, my acoustic panels. That's what it's called. God damn, that was way too much to freaking pick up and be like, yeah, it's that. Anyways, frame perfect input. What episode is it? I don't know. 9. Technically, it's episode 9. Welcome to Frame Perfect Input, with your host Misty, as it always will be until, I don't know, whenever I decide to get a guest or something, and then you have another person hosting on this, which probably won't happen. Like, do I look like I know anyone? I don't. I have no friends. I have no friends. At least no one that wants to do something like this. So, anyways, where was I? Welcome back to Frame Perfect Inputs. This is the very first episode where I'm doing something a little different, where the whole structure is Tuesday games, and then Thursday is going to be just hobby stuff. Why not? Yeah, why not? Well, the main reason why I wanted to do this is because of the fact that, well, although I still love games, I still greatly love games, it is not the thing that I am always doing nowadays. As you see, I always talk about Wuthering Waves and all that stuff, but it's not the only thing I do. In fact, it's not the thing I do mostly for every day I live. I used to live and breathe games every single day. Everything was just games. PS2 era, PS3 era, that was me. That was games every single day. But now it's a little different. Now it's not exactly that. So, of course, um, I had to add something to this podcast because I can't just do games every single day, especially if I'm doing 2 days, especially if I'm doing Tuesday and Thursday. I definitely cannot keep this up. I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about, or just run out of steam. So, there was something else I wanted to do. And that thing I wanted to do was talk about other stuff. Because now, I'm very into reading. I'm very into manga. I'm very into anime. I'm very into CDs, especially CDs, because I have two CD players sitting right here. I have a big old Iowa CD player, and I have a small Iowa CD player. Of course, I was not born when either of these were bought, or even in sale. I'm pretty sure this top one here stopped being sold in like 1998 or something like that. So I clearly was not born yet, but I have them, and I use them a lot for plenty of CDs. But of course, let's come back to what I was trying to talk about. Right. So this is the very first episode where I am doing something that is not gaming within the podcast. And for this first episode, I wanted to talk about manga specifically, very specifically one book. Book, would you even call it that? A series? There's one manga series that I definitely want to talk about because I've had this on my mind for quite a long time. It's not exactly done. I don't think it's ever going to be done that quickly. But this is one of the stories where I wish it was actually done not too long ago. When I say not too long ago, maybe like a little under half a year ago by this point. But yeah, this is one of the few manga I've read that I felt was so good with where it ended up leaving off before going on hiatus that I felt it should have just ended there. So why don't we get into that? Why don't we talk about this mystery manga that I'm just withholding the name for because I want to keep talking. Anyways, let's get into the episode while I am still on track. Alright, so let me just pull this up here. So I'm just gonna let you know that I do not own any of the books for this manga at all. I definitely can order it, but especially since it is, not too many volumes. Because if you are a person that reads manga very much, you would know that one of the big things is there's so many damn books. Go to One Punch Man. You see how many books there are on that? Holy moly. Go to Berserk, the original Tankoban style manga. There's so many books for that. Like, oh man. It's one of those series where you have to get the big book, the black book, which I do have as well, but it's not mine. That's my brother's. I don't read Berserk. It's not my thing, but I respect it. Anyways, back to it. This series is. I'm just gonna let you know a reincarnation type of series. I know how there's a lot of people that don't really like reincarnation, me included, unless it goes a way that is unique or a way that is written well or that I just really like. This is one of those cases. Uh, it's also a time travel manga with, you know. Okay, let me just read the tags here that shows. Okay, I'm gonna let you know. I read on Manga Dex. You've definitely heard of it if you've been in the manga community at all in recent times. Manga Dex is basically one of the big places to go to actually read manga. There's other places to go to, of course, but they have all those ads and everything. Sometimes it's just way too tedious to just traverse through, I meant to say, and it just isn't really worth your time. Manga Dex doesn't really do that. It doesn't do that, which is why it's one of the best there. It has a bunch of manga. It's still getting updated, but there was the thing before where there was what was it again? That big hit from like the huge anime and manga corporations and everything like that, companies that just hit it out of nowhere. I think it actually hit the Cloudflare server thing, and this was included. Anyways, not something I'm talking about. Back to the manga. This manga, what is it called here? It is called, according to Manga Dex, I got a new skill every time I was exiled, and after 100 different worlds, I was unmatched. You may have heard this manga, maybe you've even, like, if you watch certain content creators on YouTube that bring up manga and they do like read-throughs, basically chapter through chapter, you've probably seen this because that's how I found it. I found it through one of those videos. I didn't watch the video that much, but I saw it, I clicked the video, and that first few bits I was just instantly hooked, and I was like, nah, I gotta read this myself. This was like midnight as well. This was midnight. I was just in my bed scrolling on my phone. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I really like this. And if you wanted to know why it's interesting, I'm just going to read the synopsis here as well. Why not? So the synopsis on Manga Dex, it reads, an adventurer named Ed was exiled from his party because he was considered useless. But instead of being sad and upset, he was actually happy. It turns out that it's not without reason that he feels happy when he's exiled from his party, because every time he's been exiled, he will receive a skill that makes him even more invincible. Ed was given the crazy test of having to get expelled from 100 hero parties in 100 different worlds before he could return to his original world. Finally, a mysterious and divine entity said that he had achieved all the conditions to return to his original world. However, as a final condition, he is asked, look at the fate of one of these exiled worlds after you left, and he is shocked by what he sees. End quote. Okay, I'll do it. I'll go down to these 100 worlds again and be banished with a good feeling. I've never actually read the synopsis, or at least the description. Never read that before, but that basically gives you the gist of it. To paraphrase, we follow the adventurer named Ed. He was exiled, but it seems that he's actually happy instead of being distraught, as you would find in all the other isekai, reincarnation types of anime and manga. That's usually how it goes, but this one's a bit different with that. But that's not the whole reason why I really like this manga. So to continue with that, he is happy when he's exiled. And it is because of the fact that he wants to get back home, which, seems pretty damn impossible. But because he went through all these 100 worlds and pretty much served his role as supporting the heroes and giving them all this information and all that stuff, and then ultimately getting himself exiled, he does that. I forgot where I was. Where I was. Wow, I literally just forgot what I was talking about. So hold on, my brain. So the whole goal for him is he's supposed to get exiled, right? But that's not all it is. He has to stay in the hero's party for about 6 months. He has to pretty much stay there for 6 months and then get exiled. And the whole way of doing that is like, providing resources, showing your worth, all that stuff. It's a really interesting take on it, and the fact that he has to do this 100 times with 100 different parties and 100 different worlds, and he just gets better and better and better, both skill wise and just experience. And we see that in the first chapter as well. I'll probably get into that after I finish talking about this. And then, as it says over here, he finally does it. He finally gets through 100 worlds, does it 100 times, and now he has the chance to actually go back home. But the god, or whatever it is that is keeping him there, is they give him the chance to look at one of the worlds. Why not? So he goes and does that instead. That's basically what this was saying. The reason why I love this, of course, is the fact that it's reincarnation and isekai and all that stuff. It's also the fact that it's kind of like a kind of OP character, at least from what I've read. He seems like a super, super strong character and broken ass character. But he has his troubles. His troubles are in his emotions. His troubles are in his ideals and all that stuff. And the other stuff I like about it is how it's written, which I will go into now. Well, actually, I'll go into it in a bit. Hey, seems like you are enjoying the podcast, because, you made it to the halfway point, or at least roughly around there. That is honestly amazing, and it means the world to me. Thank you. Thank you very much for actually sticking around and listening to my podcast, Frame Perfect Input. Make sure to follow this podcast, or whatever way you can, keep yourself up to date and notified of future updates and episodes for the podcast. If you're interested in other places that I'll be, you can find me on YouTube as well, on the YouTube channel Misty Mist, or Misty MST. Spelt MYSTYMST. Weird spelling, I know, but it's what I landed on, and I love it, so I'm gonna keep that. Also, I think it makes me a bit unique, don't you think? Well, anyways, that was me in post. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of this episode. Means the world to me, so thank you, and I'll let you go on and continue. Alright, I've had my drink break. Hopefully you've had your break as well, because we're going to get into it. I'm trying not to do too much. Okay, let me say this real quick. I'm going to have this first portion be me talking about, like, the first few chapters or something like that, and then I'm going to let you know, if I feel like it, if I get there, I'm going to let you know that I'm going into spoiler territory from this point on. So I'm probably only going to the first chapter, and I'm going to, like, talk about that part, what I like about it so much, and then I'll let you know, hey, I'm going to be spoiling now, so if you don't want to be spoiled, either click off, pause it, come back later, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Or if you really like spoilers, go ahead, listen to it. I'm a type of person that doesn't mind spoilers. But you have been warned that is how it's gonna go. But right now, it's just first chapter, and I'm scrolling through it myself right now, so ideas might be coming in randomly, at random points. Anyways, so we already know what it's like. We know that it's reincarnation, isekai. The isekai part is the fact that he's been brought to this random world, and he has to go to 100 different worlds. The reincarnation bit is in the fact that when he comes back. Actually, no, it's a different thing. I guess it's technically not a spoiler. The reincarnation bit is it relates to when he goes back to one of the worlds that he chooses, and he chooses to go back to the very first world that he got exiled from. He went back to that world, and something happened there that caused him to forcibly reverse everything due to the gift that the god gave him, which in this case, this is all first chapter stuff, by the way. Um, in this case, was the ability to refresh everything, to basically start from zero, but with the knowledge that you had from the point that you restarted everything, which honestly is a pretty insane skill. But it also means you had to go through all 100 doors again. You see how the start of this is and how it could potentially keep going. So now we get into the chapter. So the first chapter starts off with Ed in the 100th group that he has to be exiled from. And we have no idea. I mean, assuming we don't read the description or anything, we have absolutely no idea what is going on except for the fact that he is being exiled. That is how the first page is. He gets exiled by the leader of this group here, this heroes party. So it seems like he's confused. It might be that normal thing, that stereotype, if you want to. I don't know if it's stereotype, but that trope. I think that's a better word. That trope where someone gets exiled and they are distraught, and then they go off, and then they become fucking god themselves and have all these insane powers, have this harem party. That's what it builds to be, with all of these shots here, just wide-eyed Ed, the hero's party, kicking him out, looking all, well, kind of like saddened in this case. Like, the things that are different here is the fact that the hero's party isn't insanely harsh to him. Because if you read other ones, other isekais, or reincarnations, or revenge stories, or kicked out of hero's party style stuff, usually the hero's party is full of assholes, or full of just hatred and everything like that. This doesn't really have it. It doesn't really start with that trope. That doesn't actually exist here. We find out that he's getting kicked out because he suddenly, at the start, he was really good, very knowledgeable, but then he became stupid, basically. He just changed into a completely different person and wasn't developing. And the heroes party in this is actually very smart, if you will. They're very civil. They actually making their points, and their points actually make sense. It's just like, yeah, it makes sense. He's not holding his weight. He's not pulling his weight. He's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's not doing what he was expected to do. And so they're kicking him out for that, and they go on and on for all of this stuff. I'm not really trying to read it. I'm just trying to give you what's going on for the first chapter. And then, they continue. They tell him to get they tell him to get kicked out. Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to say. No, they want to kick him out. They're telling him he's gone. And then, here's this page here. What is this? Page 10, roughly. And it's saying he gets banished from the party. He looks distraught. But then, this twat plist? What the heck? Oh my god. Plot twist is what I meant to say. I ended up saying twat plist. I've never done that before. Anyways, plot twist. He's actually really happy. Conditions met. 10 minutes remaining. That's what we see here. And then he's extremely happy. And then he is so happy, in fact, that the heroes probably think he's gone insane. But of course, now we are finding out that he is freaking powerful. And if he was allowed to, or if he wanted to, he could have done this himself. Because he starts pulling out all of these random skills that are insane to the hero's body. What is this? Like dimensional storage type thing? I don't know what they call it over here. Whatever it is. He pulls out instruction manuals. He's just like, here, have this. Read this, you'll do fine. This is all of my experience from 100 different areas. And then it's like, it gets turned on its head. That part is fun, of course. It's really fun to me. After reading so many series where it starts off with the asshole heroes, with the MC that is super weak or super shy or something like that, and then goes off to do all of the crazy stuff. This one is nice to have. It's a refreshing feeling to have something completely different like this, in fact. As we go on, they're just like, okay, we fucked up. Maybe we should have kept you in the party. And then he's just like, no, No, I don't want to be back in the party. I can't do that. I'm gonna be gone soon. And he has no time to explain, and he runs, as we see here. So through this, we find out that, without even reading the description, we find out that getting exiled is actually a positive for him. We don't know why yet, but we know it is very positive to him. We also know that, as I said before, that once he has been exiled and all the requirements have been met, he has only 10 minutes until he leaves, which is kind of important later on in a different chapter. I won't talk about that. There's a spoiler. I'll talk about that later. So yeah, he goes, hides, forcibly gets sent back, and he's done with the 100th door. And you'd think he'd want to go back, but he's a bit eager. He's a bit eager. Oh, that was also chapter 1. Chapter 1 is him actually doing all that and then returning. Forgot about that completely. And then second chapter is where he decides, I'm going to use a skill. I'm going to go back to the first door. I'm going to see what has been going on. And yeah, he finds out. After going through everything, he's just like, damn, I wanna actually see what happened here. You know, what happened to the first hero party that I went with? And I'm gonna class this now as spoiler. Even though it's not really spoiler, I'm going into it and I might actually spoil stuff now. So, you have been warned. This part is where the spoiler-ish territory will start. I'm not going to go through the entire story. I'm just going to go through bits of why I love this story so much. But I'm going to talk about potentially spoilery stuff. Anyways, keep going. All right, you've been warned. We're starting now. All right. Okay, so he decides to go back to the first world. He finds out everything is fucked. Everything is messed up. Why? He doesn't know. So then he goes back. He goes looking around, and there is, I don't know if you can class it as like a love interest. I like to call it that, maybe, but it's not really pushed. Anyways, he finds an elf who is a part of the heroes party. After battling a bunch of other monsters, of just like why is this here? What the heck is going on? Why is everything barren and destroyed? And he finds the elf lady, who is from the heroes party. Finds out they died. The heroes party died. The very first heroes party gone. And he gets told the story of that, of how, well, after he left, they couldn't find anyone capable of his spot. So, ended up searching, found a problem. The problem character for them, which ended up destroying the hero's party, was a demon who becomes important in a later chapter. Maybe I'm not going to push for this. Anyways, I'm just going to keep talking a bit for this chapter and then I'll end it. So, yeah, he finds out through that. They talk, all that stuff. Another fight happens with demons appearing out of nowhere because I guess they found out where she was. I don't know. And then he tries to beat them up, tries to kill them, tries to prove himself. She does not do it. She forces herself to do something that requires her life. And then he is stuck with, the fact that she is now going to die literally in his arms. So, like this part is like kind of like, damn, this is the thing that hooked me of like, damn, this is kind of different. This is different from other stuff I've read. And anyways, after that, they go back. Go back in the house. Was it back in the house or something like that? They talk to each other. Why do you do this? Why do you spend your life? You see her body get revealed, and it's all freaking hardened or scaly or something like that. And I was like, okay, fuck, that's it. So she requests to go back to where the hero's party last was, where she teleported from, where they ended up, dying. And so then she dies there. Not very well, of course, but at least she has closure on that. And this is where he uses his skill he got from the god, which was to refresh everything and give him a chance to redo it. Now, okay, I did rush through everything, and maybe you'd be thinking, why would he do that? He's not attached to them, is he? This is the one where he was not very good in the hero's party. He was definitely far better than everyone else, but he was not very good, not really pulling his weight, really clingy, all that stuff. And they wanted him out. We find out the reason why. I'm actually not going to talk about it, am I? Yeah, I'm going to leave that for you. But um, yeah, he was not who they wanted in the party. At least that's what it seemed like to them. It seemed like they didn't really want him at all. Kicked him out, and that's how it was, and then it led to all of that stuff. So you'd think, why was he so attached? Well, he just loved his time there. He loved all of the people there, the atmosphere, and especially the elf girl. That is the person that really made it memorable to him. Now, the way that he gets attached to this, to the point of where he wants to restart everything, I guess is because of the guilt of knowing that as soon as he left, shit hit the fan, and that was it. So I guess that is kind of the reasoning they gave to his character to do this. And then he resets time. He goes back to the very beginning, where it starts with him being sent to this white space, is what they call it, or what he calls it, where all the doors are. He gets sent over there, uh, and is completely brand new. But because he refreshed, all of his memories come just smushing into his brain, and all at once he remembers everything. He gets all of his powers back from that point, and he goes into the store one, knowing full well what is going to happen if he leaves it the same way he did before. And now his goal is to simply uh, bring happiness to her. I actually can't remember her name, and it is really annoying me, so I'm gonna go search for it because I'm just not very happy. Where are you? Okay, hold on. Why am I forgetting this? I have completely forgotten your name. This is going on for a lot longer than I thought. Tia, there's her name. Yes, it was Tia. He's trying to bring her smile back, trying to make sure she stays happy, specifically her. But he's also, on the way, trying to keep the heroes' party alive, because of that guilt. And all of that stuff I absolutely love from this story. The fact that he has this reason, the reason of, well, just fixing what he didn't even. It's technically not really him doing it. It's not really his fault. In the end, it was the hero's fault for kicking him out, but still, he feels responsible and he feels guilty of it, and he wants to go back into it. And also, the simple reason why I love it is the fact that he's going back to square. It's like, okay, hold on. It's basically like that thing where you go through all of the side quests in the game and then go into the main quest, and you're so over leveled that everything is so fucking easy. It's basically that type of thing, and that for some reason I absolutely love about this. I've also, guilty pleasure, I guess you could say, absolutely loved the OP main character trait every now and then, because sometimes I just want to turn off my brain and just read and be like, look, you're a bad person. You're gonna die now. Like, this main character, you got nothing on him. Bodied. It's like it's basically self-insert stories where that would happen. The ones where it is the generic black-haired Asian boy kind of thing. I think of Kirito for that type of stuff. But yeah, basically that's how. Sometimes I gotta have something like that, and this is kind of providing it, but not in the really simple way. There is a story that I absolutely love with this, and I don't really want to spoil it because I really want you to just enjoy it. But yeah, okay, yeah. I think I'm not going to spoil it. We'll leave it there with what I'm discussing on that. But that is the main reason why I love it. Why I think you should read it is the fact that it does something different with the genres, the genre that's in, the reincarnation, the isekai, the freaking like going back in time, the time travel, trying to fix what he feels he did wrong. That type of stuff is so cool to me, and this one is actually doing it pretty well. Personally, it does it so well with how the story is done. It's not like I go back and I blow everything up. I don't. It's not like I go back and I'm super fucking powerful. Nothing can touch me. No, he's actually smart. He actually plays through like the info he's got. He doesn't like man, you just gotta read it, man. You just gotta read it, honestly. Like, I absolutely love this story. It's so good. And on here on Manga Dex, it's rated 9.48 in terms of stars out of 10. I think that should tell you exactly what the public opinion is of this story. It's super good, man. You gotta read it. I don't want to spoil this. I said I was gonna potentially spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, man. I really don't. It's such a good story, man. And unfortunately, on here it says it's on hiatus again. Recently, it came out of hiatus and then it went into hiatus again. That's really unfortunate. It's been 2 years since it came out. But anyways, let me just say it. The name again is I got a new skill every time I was exiled, and after 100 different worlds, I was unmatched. It is that story. Super good story. It's currently on volume 5, and like I said, it's on hiatus, unfortunately. Um, Man, it is very good though. And okay, I guess I do have to spoil it. Okay, spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. Right now. Okay, you're listening, right? It is a spoiler warning. Uh, I am not responsible for anything you hear here, and do not like. All right? Spoiler warning. You have been warned. It's something I really want to talk about because at the beginning I said this is one of the few manga where I'm just like, man, I wish it ended right at this point because it was perfect for an ending. And it is because of the fact that, well, he went through this journey with the hero's party to kill the Demon King, the Demon Lord, whatever it was, going through the demon world to do the thing. And it gets to a point where he's thinking, okay, what happens if I beat the Demon King? Does it destroy my chances of fulfilling the requirements? Because the requirements, again, is to get exiled from the hero's party and stay with them for 6 months. But his argument is, if I complete this quest, this journey, does that technically mean the hero's party is then disbanded? Does that mean I miss my chance to get exiled? And he's going through this dilemma, this thought process of just like, is it worth the risk? And in the end, he chooses to get himself exiled, but he doesn't do it in like a dumb way. I actually really like how they did this. Um, the way he does it, he decides to set it up basically through prior days, maybe a few days. He lets some other people know in the crew that, well, like subtly, like when that time comes, when we have to make that tough decision, we got to make that tough decision no matter what. And so he gets to that position where the Demon King, the gate to the king, is right there. But there's a problem because behind them is a huge demon army sent to defeat them before even reaching that. And now they're stuck in the middle. The whole plan was them to go kill him. But now he has this thought of, well, fuck. If I do it, I can't even go home now. So he makes the decision to not go in. The hero was asking them, like, making sure, do you want to go here? Do you want to commit to this and do this thing? You can leave now. And he decides to leave. He decides, I'm going to abandon this. I'm going to leave. You know, I want to go home. The home that they don't know. He doesn't actually say anything about it. So then he does that, and they think, oh, he's going to go home. But one of the members on the crew, their monk, he picks up on it because he was the one that was told, when the tough situation comes, yeah, we got to make that decision. And then he finds out, oh shit, he's trying to sacrifice himself. He's going to pretty much do a last stand right here to give them time to go to the Demon King and defeat him. And so he's just like, well, shit, alright, I guess this is it. Confirms it, and he's like, alright, we gotta go. The hero then catches on, and he's like, no, fuck that. I don't want to do that. This is not me. That's not my thing. But then, you know, he gets held back. He has to go. It's a whole thing, a whole emotional moment. I've reread that specific moment so many times because I absolutely love it. I love stuff like that, you know. where it's just super emotional. It's hard to really explain right now, but I just love those types of moments. Like those last stand moments are super good to me. I absolutely enjoy those things in stories because it's just epic. It's cool. I really love that for the main character. And sometimes, they die off of it, but at least it was like a heroic death, that type of thing. I just love that stuff. Anyways, they do that, they go forcibly because of the monk, and he stays back. Of course, not planning to die, he plans to leave, but he gets exiled. The hero exiles him from words. It's confirmed he's going back. Man, I'm burping a lot. Goddamn. Anyways, it's confirmed. He hears it. 10 minutes left, and well, that's it. The hero throws him his sword as a way of like, you better bring that back, and they go on their way. They split. He does his thing, destroys the demon army because he's fucking OP. Throws out all of these crazy skills, even a skill that was supposed to actually kill him at the end of it, but of course, manga being manga, lined up with the fact that he disappears at the point of when he was supposed to die. But yeah, and then the really cool thing about it, maybe some people don't care about it, but for me, I really love this, is the fact that that place where Tia, the elf, originally passed away at in the first run, that's where he ends up going to. He ends up dying over there at the rock that they, sat at originally. And then he disappears. Sword is there, left there, that's it, and he's gone. And that was really cool. I was honestly completely fine with that type of ending. But it kept going, and I still like this part where we jump into the future, like 10 years. The hero party are now in much bigger positions doing their thing. The hero is now a king. The elf is now a traveling elf doing her thing. Well, it's cool. Seeing after stories. I'm a sucker for after stories. Stories after the thing has happened. Now, the book I'm gonna talk about next week is another one with an after story and is actually finished, and I am eager to talk about that. But I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that for you to wait on. Anyways, back to it. After story, we see them 10 years later. They're healthy. They're happy. All of these kingdoms happy, and we are happy as the readers because he did it. He actually did it. And we find out that this whole time, these 10 years, I'm assuming they're 10 years by the way, that passed, Tia has been trying to find a way to actually find our main character. And, well, we pretty that part, that after story, is pretty much us finding out Tia found a way to actually find him. And we find out that it is an insane trip so far that it is super risky. And so, anyways, she does it. She goes. She does the thing. I'm really skipping a lot of stuff here. You should read it. You should definitely read it. Much better reading it. I don't want to explain this to you because it's better experienced firsthand. You don't want me to be talking about it and be like, oh, that's cool. No, you gotta experience this thing. Anyways, back to it. She goes. She finds him, and they're happy again. These two are happy again. The rest of the hero party are happy. They're sending her off. They're sad with the fact that she's gone, but that's just how it goes. Life goes on, and so, yeah, she goes, finds him, and it's happy days. To simplify it, it's basically that. They explain this stuff. Why are you here? How did you get here? What the heck is going on? You risk your life for this thing, and all that stuff. But yeah, and then it pretty much the part where I thought it was a perfect ending was them entering into the second door to go into the second world. Because that whole story is like 20 something chapters. That would have been a perfect end to it. Personally, I would have absolutely loved it if it ended there. Especially the last shot where they are standing in front of the door, which is open bright, and we have that shot from behind them. That would have been perfect. You end there, the final page is just that. Oh my god, that would have been good. But then they continued, and they went into the next world, and this is where it's supposed to be going. And that's why it's on hiatus. I believe it's on hiatus because the writer, the story, the writer, anything like that, I feel like they don't want to ruin this, and they don't exactly know where they want to go. So they're waiting, they're thinking, and then they'll, continue. It could also be health reasons, but I heard the first one more than the second one. Let's just say that. Anyways, so that book, absolutely love, and I highly recommend you read it as soon as possible if you like time travel, reincarnation, fucking, what else is there? Hold up. Loading. Okay, great. If you like reincarnation, time travel, isekai, adventure, magic, fantasy, demons, stuff like that, I highly recommend this story, this book. It's so good, man. But currently, if you want to read it in English, you have to read it online through a fan translation or through stuff like that because in book form, it is only in Japanese, unfortunately. If you can read Japanese, go and get it. Get it from Amazon Japan or something like that for like $9 or something. Uh, because it's such a good read. It is absolutely worth your time. Personally, I would say it is absolutely worth your time because it was definitely worth my time. In fact, it took even more of my time because, as I said before, I've reread this series so many times, like over and over and over again, especially when I was keeping up to date with the chapters because I got to a point where, when I was talking about before, the fact that, what was it? Where they had to split, the hero's party and the main character had to split. I was stuck on that for a month and a bit, maybe even 2 months, waiting for the translation to happen. I was just rereading over and over and over again. I was stuck on that manga, man. That manga had me hooked from the freaking balls, man, because it's so good. Man, just go read it. You know what? Just go read it, man. After this podcast episode, go read it, man. Oh my god, such a good book. Anyways, this was the very first episode of, let's just call it Hobby Thursdays for now, for Frame Perfect Input. I hope you enjoyed your time here, because I most certainly did, talking about one of my favorite manga right now. Next week, Thursday, same thing. It's going to be about manga. I have one cooking up right now. It is, in fact, in my cupboard. I could go and grab it. This is one of the few books in recent time that is freaking amazing. Now, is it masterpiece quality? I don't know. It might be, though. But it is one of the few manga in recent time that I've read start to finish, took my time, read it over and over and over again, and it hasn't gotten old. It's still the same great manga that I freaking read the first time. But that's not for today. That's for next Thursday. And I will see you next Thursday, hopefully. Yeah, this was Frame Perfect Input, and I will be seeing I'll be seeing you later. Alright. Check your what? Later.